this next topic, and we're gonna love this, of course, because we've been waiting. It hasn't
Have
happened yet,
ha,
so let's not count our
have we?
chickens. Have
Oh,
we?
is
You
this
don't. You
Twitter?
don't. Yeah, it's Twitter. So it recently came out. There's a rumor that if and when Elon Musk takes over Twitter, he intends to lay off 75% of the useless people there. And that's probably a scary, shocking thing to the people there. But the only thing that shocks me is why it's not like 95%.
No, no,
What are
no,
your thoughts on this?
no, and you can't. 95 is too high. I
Is it
think,
too high? There's like
yeah,
more useful people than that.
I think 75 to 80 is pretty reasonable.
Hmm. What are the other 20% doing that's good? And also that they won't
E-
sabotage his vision.
I mean, even just like operations, I think you would need a bunch of people,
The
you know?
janitors can stay.
Exactly, but I'm talking about not just, physical janitors, but digital janitors, right?
Oh, let's just put it this way. None of the people who made decisions that impacted the direction of Twitter and the actions of Twitter, none of them should keep their jobs
And I guess the products, right?
and the
Like,
products or anything.
yeah.
Basically, the top, the bottom 20% can stay. The janitors, the people who, the secretaries, whatever, the receptionists, those people can stay. Those people did nothing wrong. Those people are not responsible for the dumpster fire that Twitter is. But
Yeah,
the
yeah.
top 80%, most of them are useless and don't do work. Okay, let's just be honest. And the others who are actually doing work are doing work to make the company bad. So all of those people should be fired.
Yeah.
And thank God Elon, I mean, he's way smarter than I am. Of course, he recognizes the exact same thing. And he's privy to more information than I am, even though I'm a shareholder, you're a shareholder, but we don't have that information necessarily. We just have what we'd see from the outside in. They seem to be way overstaffed, and based on the decisions they make and the stuff they do, I don't even think they do the right thing with the manpower they have. So fire them. Good.
It's kind of interesting that actually Elon has this insight because this is not true at his companies, right? So the only way he knows about this is through word of mouth or I don't know. He I don't think he has firsthand experience of this. Maybe
Maybe he
just
has an
from his
insider. Maybe he has like some insiders talking to him, right?
yeah, that's true. Or maybe it's just from his the brief dealings that he has had with Twitter. He's just going,
Well, we
um,
do know that he is on a conversational level with Jack Dorsey,
right, right.
and Jack
But with
Dorsey was the CEO for a while.
Yeah, but with this kind of thing is a little hard to like if I just think about, where I work and I think the people that have the best idea of what's going on are probably the ground level managers. Beyond that point, like if I'm thinking about, our director and so forth, from that point onwards, I'm not sure if they have this impression that, hey, we have a lot of dead weight. So it says that it's pretty interesting that Elon is actually aware of this situation. I mean, if you were to go on, I think it's well known if you pay attention on Twitter, right? There's people that have tweeted about this phenomenon. If you go on like Blind, for example, there's tons of
Hmm.
people talking about this stuff on Blind. But generally, yeah,
Well,
it's a pretty red pill move, I would say.
there's also the idea that since he's overpaying for Twitter, he he's incentivized to cut costs anywhere he
That's
can.
true. Yeah, yeah.
But although I want to believe that even if he got Twitter at a much lower price, he'd still fire a lot of this dead weight because he knows
Oh,
that.
no. Actually, you know what? He might be approaching it from first principles because
Okay.
right? Because or that would be he sees what Twitter is, right? And
Mm-hmm.
he's thinking in his mind,
Mm-hmm.
if I were to create this thing, how many people would I need to do it? And then
Right.
he's comparing that number with how many people he sees on the Twitter payroll,
Right.
and then just going, okay, like there's obviously a lot of fat here.
I can't wait. I can't wait because the other thing is a lot of people, and this is I related a little bit to when Trump got into office, and a lot of the people who voted for him said, "Yay, he's going to clean the swamp. He's going to drain the swamp." But that reveals a lack of understanding of the swamp because the swamp, you're talking about the bureaucracy, the executive branch. You know how many millions of people work for that branch? The swamp is just too big. There's just too many people in it. He can't just the president can't just fire most of the people who work in the executive branch. It just doesn't work
Is
like
that
that.
really true? I mean,
It's true. He can't just fire them. There's a process. It would be so difficult for him to just do it by fiat.
hmm.
Um, I guess he could, but
What's the issue? Like, is it that he actually can't, or is it that he can't replace the people that he, easily? Like,
it's
is there
just
too
so
much
it's just
tribal
so.
knowledge that would be
I,
lost?
Here's how I would classify it: the government, the bureaucracy, these millions and millions of people who work for the government. So many of them are useless. So many of them are just taking up space. We know that. Anybody who has a shred of IQ knows this. However, just like a cancer that has twisted itself through your body, I mean, at some point, the cancerous cells, there's so many of them that if you just went through and cut out all of these cells, all of this cancerous tissue, it's not sure what the consequence would be.
I think we should try it.
But yeah, I mean, that's a fair thing to say. We should try it, but it's not clear how much of your body would be cut out. It just,
It's not clear if it's gonna make it worse or better. I guess is maybe you could say.
yeah, there may
But
be unintended consequences. I mean, there's always unintended consequences, and when you do something this big on this scale, there's sure to be unintended consequences that you probably didn't predict, and so that's a very scary prospect. That's how I would. That's the analogy that I would use. So when Elon says he's just going to he's going to cut the cancer out. 75% of them gone. It's just so gutsy. It's just what Trump couldn't or wasn't willing to do with the swamp. But Elon is totally, and in fairness to Trump, of
Or
course, or
Arnold.
Arnold, right?
Yeah.
In fairness to Elon, though, Twitter is a much smaller operation than the federal government. So it's much easier to say, oh, I'm going to cut out 75% of Twitter staff as opposed to saying I'm going to cut out 75% of the federal workers. That's a totally different scale and story. But
I mean, actually, think about this. I mean, what are Twitter's main products? There's a website and an app, I guess, right? Or
mhm,
there's two apps. There's got to be one for Android, one for iOS, and then there's the website. And let's say there's website, for desktop and website for mobile. So let's say four products. And I don't know, within these products, can you think of like what are the main features?
you can post your shit for the world
Yeah,
to see.
yeah. What else though? I mean, isn't there?
I don't know that
Do
there's another
do
thing.
you actually use the app?
I use the app.
Are there like buttons on the app that you just never use, or because I don't use the app, so I don't know. Like
You
isn't
don't
there
use the
this whole
app? Wow.
no?
Okay.
Isn't there a notion of like being able to give somebody money somehow on Twitter, like a super tweet or
No,
is
not for
there's
me. Not for me.
they don't have that?
No.
Isn't there a way to give money though? I forget. I thought there
No.
is.
I think that was just proposed. So
Huh.
back to what I
I'm
was
just saying.
saying.
I'm just
Uh,
saying. If you get like four products, right? I don't know, and let's say you're a lean startup. How many people do you need on each of these different product teams? I would
Not
say
5,000 or whatever their
no,
staff
no,
is.
nowhere close. I would say on the high end, maybe like I would say I'm just pulling this number,
Hmm.
out of thin air, but you maybe like the bare minimum would be maybe like 10.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then on the high end, you would get up to like, I don't know, 20 or 30. So,
But here's the other thing I was going to say. You know how when Trump got in and his excuse or his reasoning for why he couldn't get a lot of stuff done is the deep state is against me. People and the bureaucracy are entrenched and they're working against what I'm trying to do. Like that's true enough. I mean, the FBI was definitely working against him, right?
yeah.
So that's true enough. That's the same thing that Elon is going to encounter at Twitter. There's a bunch of SJWs, there's a bunch of leftists who just want to do their thing. The same people who have been trying to censor us for
Yeah.
eight,
Yeah.
10 years are the same people who are working there, right? So there's two ways of going about this. or multiple maybe, but I'm going to talk about two. One, you could from top down, Elon can say, these are the new policies, guys. You're going to follow them. And now the policy is free speech. You have to prioritize free speech, whatever. But if these people are still working there, they're going to do their damnedest not to cooperate with these directives, right? So you
Yeah.
know what's the easier way to make sure free speech happens on Twitter? Fire most of them because you know
Yeah.
what? The remaining 20% will be either the lower level people who weren't involved in trying to censor us, or or they'll be so overworked that they can't even find time to censor people. They'll just be deluged with work to just keep the site afloat. So in you can also achieve it that way. But firing people is number one is absolutely the best way to go about this because
It's
there's
actually,
no
yeah,
need to convince these people to cooperate. Just get rid of them.
it's actually good timing. It's actually really good timing right now, right? Because we're kind of in a down market, and traditionally jobs have been pretty easy to come by in tech, and the
Hmm.
employee has had all the leverage, and we're just entering a period right now where I think the leverage is shifting towards the employer, which we haven't seen in like more than a decade,
Yeah,
right? It's pretty much been
correct.
all in employee favor.
Right.
By the way, I just thought of, the four main groups that I came up with are laughably short of the mark. The other two, I missed at least two areas, which is one is like they must have a team that's just working on their API backend, which allows like other websites to integrate with Twitter and so on. And they must have an ad team. Like, you need that.
Hmm.
So there's at least six main areas I can think of. But yeah, you wouldn't need thousands of people for this.
No.
You could probably you could probably get by with like less than 100, just in
And
terms of like the product side.
well, if he just only kept about 100 few hundred people, then that would mean cutting even more than 75%. Don't they have over 5,000 employees?
Right. Actually, I don't remember what their employee count is. But
Oh,
then yeah,
okay.
you still need the operations people like the janitors and so forth. I'm talking about
Right.
like the product development, or
Okay.
the engineers, the people who are building new stuff, that kind of.
Hmm. Yeah. So this is great news. I can't wait. I'm sorry that Elon had to overpay for it, but hey, take one for the team. He's
The thing
rich.
is, yeah, it can easily be worth so much more though, right? It has to be.
If he
It's
does, if
Twitter
he
is,
does, if he does the things that we think he's going to do, he can
yeah.
make it even, he can make a profit off this for sure.
Twitter is important. It's already established its kind of importance. It has a huge amount of influence. There is no way he can't grow this to be whatever, how many billions is it right now?
I think
Uh,
that going forward, it has a
sure.
better use case. It has a more promising future than a Facebook.
For sure.
Yeah, like you don't
It
have
could
to go to
evolve.
Facebook.
It could evolve into basically like a YouTube Substack kind of thing. Yeah, they just got to figure out exactly how they're going to do
And
it.
when
But I
you
think,
look at the market cap of Facebook versus Twitter, that means Twitter has a whole bunch of room to grow.
yep, yeah, it shouldn't be difficult to 10x it. I mean, I think Twitter has been languishing just because it's just been poorly managed.
Probably, probably. And let's be honest. We champion Elon Musk as, wow, you're a champion of free speech, and we cheer him on. And yeah, I think that he is motivated by those things. But at the same time, the dude is not going to spend $40 billion on something that he thinks is just going to lose money on. No matter how much of a champion for free speech he is, he's not going to. He only spends $40 billion on a thing if he also thinks that he can make money on it. He has some kind of real plan to make money on it.
Or at least not lose money, I would say.
I would think that he probably no, I think he has a plan to make money on it because if he was just thinking, "Oh, I have a plan
Well,
not
of
to
course
lose money."
no, no, of course he does. But
Yeah.
yeah, of course he has a plan. But yeah, I like to think that, um,
That
you
he
know,
would do it
uh,
even if he just didn't lose?
yeah.
Maybe.
But you have to sell to investors,
Right.
right? So other
Investors are
investors
not gonna like
are not going to be as
yeah.
possibly potentially altruistic as he is. So
He's gonna do it. And firing most of the people is a great first step. I don't care. I don't know anyone who works at Twitter. Do you?
I used to, but that person has long left.
Oh, okay. Sorry if you do work at Twitter, but you're probably gonna lose your job.